Hey, Sharla, this is Kat Schreier from WaterCitizen Media. I want to thank you for the email I got this morning where you talked about your reflections on the immense tragedies we've been witnessing lately and, and invited everyone to your Thrive Thursday Facebook Live, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. So I've still got another half hour to go. But I appreciate your invitation to talk about our work and how we're making a difference. And realizing is just how horribly I have failed to communicate that, and how critical it is for me to do better with that. Um, I'm actually here in Chicago. I don't know if you can see this. Um, this is McCormick Place. You can see the fountains in the background. This is a huge convention center. And the last 4 days, I've been at the largest conference in the world. And all the latest and greatest stuff that's going on in terms of how we treat water, um, all sorts of different contaminants. I mean, anytime you hear in the news something bad about your water, it means that something was not caught. And these are the people who figure out how to catch it, how to treat it, how to make sure that nobody's ever harmed by anything in the water. And most of the best stories about stories that don't make it to the news, where this industry has been really successful in protecting public health and the environment. As an industry, water, wastewater, water resource management, people who deal with our oceans, our rivers, our water supply, our wastewater collections, have been horrible at talking to the media. And and what I created Water Citizen Media for, sorry, it's a little noisy here at the hotel. What I created Water Citizen Media for 5 years ago, we're a 5-year-old company now, is to be able to have someone who actually knows something about water, which most people in mainstream media do not, to be able to come to an event like this and cut through all of the technical gobbledygook and the jargon and the acronyms and TMDLs and SDWA and all this other stuff and get to the heart of what's happening and how water is a part of every aspect of our lives. With that, people understand that water is important, that water is life, and yada yada yada. All these platitudes about, oh yeah, water is so important, but they don't really see exactly. I mean, just out here, look at this. You see the fountains out there? I don't know if you can see that in the background. Our first interview for this whole series that we did about WEFTech was with the Lyft driver, where he was telling us about the best places to go in Chicago while we're at this conference are some of the water features. There's this big crown fountain at the Millennium Park right outside of the convention center, where they have this really cool fountain that has all these faces of people from Chicago, and after a few seconds, the faces purse their lips, and water looks like it's shooting out of their lips, right? So it's just really cool. But he talked about, and this is a taxi driver, a Lyft driver. He's talking about how in Chicago, when they have fountains, they have to have these special sensors because Chicago is called what? The Windy City. And with all wind, when you have a fountain, you have to make sure that you can to figure out that the water isn't going to blow everywhere. And anyway, it's just gosh, water. You don't have energy without water. You don't have health without water. You don't have um, food without water. George Hawkins, who he's one of the best communicators on water issues, and he's actually about to step down at the end of the year. When people ask him how many jobs does he have at GC Water, thinking, how many people do they employ at the agency, he says, how many jobs do you support? He says, all of them. Every time there is a water main break or any issue with water, without water, the buildings shut down, the roads shut down. So what we're trying to do is figure out how to create media products, stories and shows that could be distributed to mainstream outlets. And all of them, they've been cutting all of their staff that actually knows something about or water and the environment or whatever. A lot of the media outlets have been cutting their better journalists in those, in more specialized areas, I guess you'd call it. So for us to be able to create really high quality products and get those out to those media outlets to be able to capture and share the stories of water. And I have done a crappy job of explaining that. And I mean, we're talking about a multi-billion, hundreds of billions of dollars, trillions of dollars. I don't even know the numbers. It's big. It's a huge industry. Every single one of these utilities has a massive budget. And that's not even including the agencies, and that's not even including the research organizations. It's a huge industry. And when I hear from people in the coaching industry that nobody cares about water because, or nobody's going to pay for anything to do with water, um, and actually, George, the head of DC Water, we're talking now about how I might be able to help him start a coaching practice. There is an entire generation of leaders in the water industry, experts who have seen this industry through their 20 years of day-to-day jobs, through some of the most innovative times in history. And now they're going to retire, and we're going to lose all that knowledge unless there's a way for them to continue expertise as coaches, as speakers, as authors. And they need to understand how to create businesses that let them do that. What's going to happen, Sharla, is I think I'm going to actually teach water experts how to become coaches and speakers and authors and communicate about water. So I'm hoping for the opportunity to do that. And if anyone's interested, I'm at WaterCitizen.com and thewatershow.org, and I'm Dr. Kat Schreier, and I will hopefully join you on your show today at noon Pacific time, 2 o'clock Chicago time, where I'm at. I'll talk to you soon.